So today we are going to start with a new gland, that is your adrenal glands. Okay, so before we go into the details of adrenal gland, let's have a small introduction to the endocrine gland called adrenal gland. Okay, it is also called as an essential endocrine gland, or sometimes it's also called as a life saving gland. Okay, so you have to give reason why this is termed as a life saving gland. Other name for the adrenal gland is your suprarenal gland, because these are situated on either side at the upper pole of kidney. Okay, so what is the importance of the adrenal gland? Why it is termed as a life saving gland? Okay, because it has many functions. Mainly, first important function is for your homeostasis. Okay, homeostasis of energy stores. Then it controls your immunological mechanism. It controls fluid volume, very important again for your homeostasis. It controls the ECF, again important for your homeostasis, and regulates functions of other organs systems. Okay, so this is why the adrenal glands are so much life saving glands. uh, One more important function of this adrenal gland is they help in your other important regulatory or intermediary metabolisms. So this is the importance of the adrenal gland. The hormones which are secreted by the adrenal glands are very essential for one's survival. Okay, so these hormones, they will prepare oneself for to deal with emergencies. Okay, so not just they are important for your survival, but also they help to deal with emergency. Okay, so absence of adrenal cortical hormone can lead to death, and absence of adrenomedullary hormone will decrease the resistance to your mental and physical stress. So these two hormones, okay, adrenal cortical hormone and the adrenal medullary hormones, so these two, because they are important, or because they are your life saving hormones, they are important for your to deal with your emergencies. So each gland, about coming to the structure, each gland, it weighs around 5 grams. It consists of 2 endocrine glands, the one surrounding the other. The outer one is called your adrenal cortex, and the inner one is termed as your adrenal medulla. Okay, so adrenal cortex, the outer surrounding of the endocrine gland, adrenal gland, and the inner one is your adrenal medulla. So from here you come to know about what is the importance of this adrenal gland. Okay, why it is called as a life saving gland, the other names, that is your suprarenal gland, and the hormones, that is the adrenal cortical, importance of the adrenal cortical hormones, and the importance of your adrenomedullary hormones. Okay, the adrenal cortex and the medulla are very different from each other in terms of your development, also structure and functions. Okay, the outer zone, that is your adrenal cortex, it forms about 80 to 90% of the total gland, and the inner zone, that is the adrenal medulla, it consists of around 10 to 20% of your gland. Now from where it develops? Adrenal cortex from the mesodermal tissue and adrenal medulla from the neuroectodermal tissue. The adrenal cortex, it secretes your steroid hormones, and your adrenal medulla will secrete your catecholamines. Okay, so the adrenal cortex and the medulla are different from each other in development, structure, and also functions. So here you can see the diagram, the position of adrenal gland. Okay, and if you cross section the capsule, the medulla, and the outer cortex. Now coming to the histological structure. Okay, so we'll see it in different. Adrenal cortex, it has 3 different layers. The outer zone, the outer layer is termed as your outer zona glomerulosa. So each layer secretes a special type of hormone, and the outer zona glomerulosa, it secretes your mineralocorticoids. Now middle one, that is your zona fasciculata, it secretes your glucocorticoids and to some extent sex steroids, and the inner one, that is your zona reticularis, will secrete your sex steroids and your glucocorticoids to some extent. Okay, so 3 different layers secreting 3 different varieties of your hormones. So in the upcoming classes, from the adrenal cortex, we will first see the adrenal cortex, then go to the adrenal medulla. So from the adrenal cortex, we will see what are the important glucocorticoids, what are the important mineralocorticoids mainly. Okay, and in details about these 2 types of hormone, especially your cortisol and your aldosterone. Okay, so mechanism of secretion, action, regulations, and mainly what is important in your physiology part is the functions of these hormones, your cortisol and your aldosterone. Now if you can see this diagram, okay, so you can see here the location of your adrenal gland on the upper part of your kidney or the suprarenal gland. Okay, now the B structure, it is the cross sectional of the gland. Okay, so parts of the adrenal gland. Okay, see the capsule, the 3 different layer, outer zona glomerulosa, then zona fasciculata, and the inner one is the zona reticularis. It's the histological part of the section from your adrenal cortex and the adrenal medulla. Here in this you can see the histology of the adrenal gland. Okay, see the zona glomerulosa, it secretes your mineralocorticoids, fasciculata will secrete your glucocorticoids and to some extent your sex steroids, and the medulla will secrete your catecholamines. So 3 different layers, the cortex, the medulla, what secretions they secrete. Okay, and the layers of your adrenal cortex. Okay, and how to differentiate them between the 3 layers. And okay, if you can see here, the zona fasciculata, it constitutes more than 80% of the adrenal cortex. This purple layer, okay, more than 80% of your adrenal cortex. Now coming to the adrenal medulla. So it is made up of cells termed as your chromaffin cells. Okay, the other name for this is pheochrome cells and chromophil cells. So what are the importance of these chromaffin cells? Okay, it contains granules, okay, and they are secreting in nature, which secrete two types. One is your adrenaline secreting cells, mostly comprising of your 90%, and your noradrenaline secreting cells that comprise about your 10%. So chromaffin cells in your adrenal medulla. Okay, so these are interlacing cords of cells, also termed as your chromophil cells. They contains granules, okay, which are stained by your potassium dichromate, and it is formed by two types of adrenal medulla is formed by two types of chromaffin cells. One is your adrenaline secreting cells, and the other one is your noradrenaline secreting cells. In this diagram you can see here the cell is innervated by cholinergic neuron. Okay, okay, then the granules containing the hormones, which is discharged through the ECF, and it is again taken up by your sinusoidal vein. Okay, see, these are the granules, okay, which contains your hormones, and the process by which they are excluded out is through your exocytosis. Okay, so histology of adrenal cortex, it is made up of three types of cells, okay, and each type of cell secrete your different types of hormones. And here in adrenal medulla, it is made up of chromaffin cells, and which secretes your hormones. Now coming to the blood supply of your adrenal gland in general. Okay, so the arterial blood supply is from your superior suprarenal artery. Again, it is a branch of your inferior phrenic artery. Middle suprarenal artery, a branch of your abdominal aorta, and inferior suprarenal artery, which is again a branch of your renal artery. So three arteries: superior suprarenal artery, middle suprarenal artery, inferior suprarenal artery. Okay, and these three arteries are found in your outer capsule or outer part. Now the arterial blood will enter the sinusoidal capillaries in your cortex and drain into your medullary veins. So this system of blood, which you always know, is termed as your portal system. Okay, and from the cortex it will supply to your medulla. Okay, so who will tell me what are the other structures present in your body which comes under your portal system? Anyone can attempt? Which are the other portal systems in your body? Hepatoportal system, correct. Any other portal system you have read till now? Hypophyseal portal system, very good, correct. Yes. Okay, so this is again one of the portal systems, which from the outer capsule to your inner medulla, and the arterial supply by your superior, middle and inferior suprarenal artery. See, this is a schematic diagram which shows the adrenal gland. Okay, so the superior suprarenal artery, the middle suprarenal artery, and the inferior suprarenal artery. Okay, all this supply your outer cortex. Then the sinusoidal arteries in your adrenal cortex, which supplying your medulla. Okay, now coming to the, so 3 arteries and vein we will see now. Venous drainage. Okay, 2 veins, right and left suprarenal vein. Thus right suprarenal vein will drain into your inferior vena cava, and the left suprarenal vein will drain into your left renal artery. So right suprarenal vein and your left suprarenal vein. So the arterial supply by 3 arteries and your venous drainage by your 2 veins. Okay, so till now we have studied about the general introduction to your adrenal gland. So in today's class we will study about the hormones of adrenal cortex. It is very important for your examination point of view. Okay, so first today we will see only one hormone. Okay, next class that is we will see only the glucocorticoids. Okay, the next class we will see the rest, aldosterone and your sex steroids, along with the applied aspect. Again coming to the applied aspect, very important. Okay, what are the diseases associated with your adrenal cortex? So let's have an introduction to your adrenal cortex. Okay, the adrenocortical hormones are steroids in nature, hence their name corticosteroids. Okay, now based on their functions, these are divided or classified into 3 types: glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids and your sex hormones. Now glucocorticoids, for example, what are they? Cortisol and corticosterone. Okay, so what is the function of this cortisol and corticosterone? They mainly affect your glucose and protein metabolism. Okay, in general they mainly affect your glucose and protein metabolism, and they have a very important role in your anti-inflammatory processes. Okay, and also they are termed as your immunosuppressive. Okay, anti-inflammatory, they help in your anti-inflammatory process. We will see in details about this, and also termed as your immunosuppressive. Okay, these 2 terms we will see. Now coming to the mineralocorticoids. Okay, what are they? Aldosterone. Okay, what is the function of this aldosterone? It regulates the sodium balance and the ECF volume in the body. Okay, so the main homeostasis, why it is life saving, it comes from aldosterone because it regulates your sodium balance and the ECF volume in your body. And the adrenal sex steroids, okay, what are they? Anyone can tell me? Anyone can give me example of adrenal sex steroids? Have you heard of the term DHEA? Have you heard of the term DHEA? Dihydroepiandrosterone. Dihydroepiandrosterone. Okay, so this is the first one, and the other one is androstenedione. Okay, so 2 hormones, DHEA and androstenedione. So okay, what is the function of this adrenal sex steroids? They will, as you all know, will establish and maintain your secondary sexual characteristics. Yes. Secondary sexual characteristics are maintained by your sex steroids. Okay. And mineralocorticoids, they will regulate your sodium balance and ECA volume, and glucocorticoids will have a very important effect on your glucose and your protein metabolism. They also have they are important immunosuppressive and have a role in your anti-inflammatory processes. Okay, so 3 sets of hormones. Okay, is that clear? Okay. What is the synthesis of this hormones? Okay, all the hormones are synthesized from cholesterol. Okay, cholesterol is used for the synthesis, is available from 2 sources, one from the blood and other from the cell itself, that is termed as your de novo synthesis. Okay, now so from where these hormones, okay, which cells are responsible for the synthesis of which hormone? Okay, we have studied about the zona fasciculata, zona reticularis, okay, and zona glomerulosa. So glucocorticoids are synthesized from your zona fasciculata and to some extent by your zona reticularis. Okay, you have to remember this. Glucocorticoids are synthesized by cells of your zona fasciculata and to some extent your zona reticularis. Now aldosterone, okay, that is your mineralocorticoid, are synthesized only by your zona glomerulosa cells. Okay, aldosterone is synthesized by only your zona glomerulosa cells, and the adrenal sex steroids are synthesized in your zona reticularis cells. Okay, so glucocorticoids are synthesized from your zona fasciculata, you have to remember this way, aldosterone from zona glomerulosa, and adrenal sex steroids from your zona reticularis. So from all these hormones, let's see the synthesis of your aldosterone. Okay, aldosterone, as you all know, the main important one is they are derived from cholesterols. Okay, now aldosterone is synthesized from corticosterone, that is a glucocorticoid. Okay, so what are the steps involved in the synthesis of your aldosterone? Okay, first step is your uptake of this cholesterol, from where this cholesterol is taken. As I told you, from two, one is your from blood and de novo, that is from the cell itself. Okay, from blood, okay, it is taken up from the low density lipoprotein in your blood. Okay, so after they enter your adrenal cells, cholesterol is stored in the form of cholesterol ester. Okay, and synthesis of this cholesterol, okay, synthesis of aldosterone, it occurs in your two structures of your cell. Okay, now some steps occurs in your mitochondria and some will occur in your okay, some occurs in your mitochondria and the middle portion of the secretion will occur in your endoplasmic reticulum. Again from there it comes back to your mitochondria and the rest of the processes occur. So the from cholesterol to pregnenolone, it occurs in your mitochondria. Synthesis occurs in your mitochondria. So here you can see cholesterol desmolase. Okay, this is the second step. So what happens? There is side chain cleavage of cholesterol. And it occurs by an enzyme, mitochondrial enzyme, termed as your 2022 desmolase. Okay. So the result or the outcome is your second one. The cholesterol is converted to your pregnenolone. Okay. It is a common precursor of all the steroid hormones. Now the third step. First step is uptake of your cholesterol. Second step involves your cholesterol desmolase, that is cleavage of your cholesterol. Now coming to the third step, that is conversion of this pregnenolone into your 11-deoxycortisol. Okay, and again from there to your 11-deoxycorticosterone. Okay. Now pregnenolone to progesterone, 11-deoxycortisol and 11-deoxycorticosterone. So all these three processes, it takes place in your endoplasmic reticulum. So the first two were taking place in your mitochondria, then these are taking place in your endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, and it occurs by your hydroxylation reaction in your endoplasmic reticulum. Now the conversion of your deoxycortisol to cortisol, okay, it occurs again in your mitochondria. So from deoxycorticosterone to 11-deoxycortisol, it occurs in your again in your mitochondria. And here you can see an enzyme 11-beta hydroxylase. Okay, in biochemistry we will see the what is the importance of these enzymes, okay, in details, but this enzyme is helpful for your conversion of 11-deoxycorticosterone to your corticosterone. This is your fifth step. Okay, now the last step is your formation of your aldosterone. Okay, so how? From corticosterone it is hydroxylated and converted to the aldehyde by your aldosterone synthase. Okay, and the end result will be your aldosterone. So cortisol converting into your corticosterone, pregnenolone is the common precursor cell, and the last one is your aldosterone. Okay, so this involves the synthesis of your aldosterone. See here, what are the steps from entering into your cell to getting inside the mitochondria? What are the steps that is involved? That is cholesterol to pregnenolone, and from here it comes back to the endoplasmic reticulum. Here the three steps that are involved. Again it is coming back to your mitochondria and the release of cortisol or your. Okay, so have you understood? So two organelles that are involved are your mitochondria and your endoplasmic reticulum. Now coming to the transport, okay, transport of the hormones. All the three types of hormones secreted from your adrenal cortex required a protein, plasma protein, for their transport. Okay, mineralocorticoids get transported mainly through your globulins. So it will binding in loose, and 50% are present in your free form. Glucocorticoids, again by a special plasma protein which is termed as your glucocorticoids binding globulin or transcortin. Okay, 95% are transported by this protein and 6% are found in your free form. Okay, now the sex hormones, again by a special plasma protein, the sex hormone binding globulin. So three types of plasma proteins: globulins for mineralocorticoids, transcortin or your glucocorticoid binding protein for your glucocorticoids, and for sex hormones, that is your sex hormone binding globulin. So all require a plasma protein for their transport. So fate of the corticosteroids: they are degraded in your liver and they conjugated to form your glucuronides and sulfate. 25% of corticosteroids are excreted in your bile and feces, and the remaining 75% in your urine. So here we have the general introduction to the three varieties of your hormones, adrenal cortex hormones. Okay, now we will see only in detail about your glucocorticoids, the first set of hormone. Okay, so for each hormone you have to read the mechanism of action, function, regulation of each variety. Okay, and also the applied aspect related to your hormone. So for glucocorticoids we will see cortisol. For mineralocorticoids we will see aldosterone, as I have told you. Okay, coming to the glucocorticoids, what is the mechanism of action? Okay, then what are the hormones that are included in your glucocorticoids? One is your cortisol, other one is your corticosterone, and the third one is your cortisol. Cortisol, corticosterone, and your cortisol. Okay. So the mechanism of action of glucocorticoids is through the effect on your gene expression by binding with a specific intracellular receptor which is termed as a glucocorticoid receptor. Remember the abbreviation, that is GR. Okay, glucocorticoid receptor. Now these glucocorticoids will bind with the receptors to form your hormone receptor complex, which will activate the DNA to form the mRNA. Okay, now the mRNA will cause the synthesis of the enzyme which alter the cell function. So mainly by your gene expression through a receptor termed as your GR or your glucocorticoid receptor. Coming to the important part of glucocorticoids, that is the functions of glucocorticoid. So as I have told you, it has a very important role in your glucose metabolism. Okay, the cortisol as a whole is very important for your glucocorticoid activity. Okay. The receptors are for the glucocorticoids are present in almost all tissues of your body. And as I have told you, they are important for the one's survival. Okay, I will give you a give revision question now. Okay, so note it down. Aldosterone is life saving hormone, cortisol is life protecting hormone. Okay, aldosterone is life saving hormone and cortisol is life protecting hormone. Okay, so aldosterone we will study next class. Why cortisol is termed as your life protecting hormone, I will give the reason for that. Okay, because it cortisol helps to withstand the stress and trauma. Okay, so during emergency situation it helps to withstand your stress and trauma. That is why it is termed as your life protecting hormone. Okay, so next class I will tell you the reason why aldosterone is termed as your life saving hormone. But in general, as you all know, the adrenal cortical hormones are your life saving hormones. Okay, so coming to the functions of your glucocorticoids or your cortisols. Okay, it has 5 important functions. Okay, first one is your metabolic action. Okay, metabolic effects. So where it affects? Carbohydrate, protein and fat. Okay, so metabolic effect on carbohydrate, protein and fat. Then physiological actions. So physiological actions will be on your organs and your organ systems. So what are the organs that are involved? First is a kidney, CNS, GI tract, the vascular system, blood. Okay, then you have the muscles, bone and tissue. Okay, so connective tissue mainly. So you have kidney, CNS, then your muscles, bone, vascular system and your connective tissue. Blood cells. Okay, sometimes your lymphatic organs also. Okay, so all this we will see the physiological action. Metabolic action on carbohydrate metabolism, protein metabolism and fat metabolism, and physiological actions on these various types of organs and systems. These two. Then you, as I told you, anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic effect. Okay, anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic effect of glucocorticoids. And then you have the role of glucocorticoids in your fetal life. What is the role of glucocorticoids in your fetal life? And the last one will be what is its effect on stress. Okay, stress, because as I told you, cortisol is a life protecting hormone which helps to withstand stress and trauma. So what is the role of this glucocorticoids in stress? Okay, so 5 functions we have to see in details: metabolic action, physiological action, anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic in fetal life and in stress. Now coming to the metabolic effects of glucocorticoids. Okay, again on 3, that is your carbohydrate, proteins and fat. So first let's go to the carbohydrate metabolism. It exerts an anti-insulin effect. Okay, anti-insulin effect, remember the terms. Okay, which will lead to your hyperglycemia. Why? First one, due to increased gluconeogenesis. So what are the causes that will have increased gluconeogenesis? So increased rate of glucose production from your non-carbohydrate sources. Okay, so non-carbohydrate sources. First one, accelerating synthesis of hepatic enzyme, for example your glucose 6 phosphatase. Okay, so increased, first is your increased gluconeogenesis. Okay, providing more amino acids to liver for your gluconeogenesis, and providing more glycerol to liver for your gluconeogenesis by increasing lipolysis. Okay, second is your decreased utilization of glucose in your peripheral tissues. So glucocorticoids will inhibit glucose uptake in your peripheral tissues like your muscles, skin, connective tissue, lymphoid tissue, bone and adipose tissue. So all these peripheral tissues, the glucocorticoids actions we will see later on. Now coming to the protein metabolism. Okay, catabolic effect and anti-anabolic effect. Okay, so catabolic means breakdown of your large molecules. Okay, so cortisol will enhance release of amino acids by proteolysis in your skeletal muscles and in your extrahepatic tissue. Now anti-anabolic means again anti means oppose your anabolic reaction. Okay, so the ability of your glucocorticoids to inhibit your in-cell synthesis of your protein. Okay, what is anti means? Again against building up. Okay, so are there any difference between catabolic and anti-anabolic? Okay, so you are telling there is difference between catabolic and anti-anabolic effect. What is the difference then? Yes, because anti-anabolic, it means it will inhibit your building up formation, and catabolic means your breakdown. Okay, so yes. Yes, this is very important, Pushkar. You have termed it right. It ultimately favors catabolism. Okay, anti-anabolic effect will ultimately favor your catabolism. Very good. Okay, now remember, in your liver the glucocorticoids will increase the synthesis of enzymes involved in production of your hepatic proteins. Okay, this is again a give reason question. In applied one, in liver the glucocorticoids increases the synthesis of enzymes which are involved in your hepatic or in the production of your hepatic proteins, plasma proteins and your glycogen. So we have finished with your okay. Now coming to the fat metabolism. Carbohydrate over, proteins over, fat. Okay, again two terms, lipolytic and lipogenic. Okay, lipolytic and lipogenic. So cortisol has lipolytic activity for epinephrine, growth hormone and other lipolytic substances which will stimulate the hydrolysis of stored triglycerides. So what is lipolytic? Okay, The slides are visible. Okay, so lipolytic, what happens? That is okay, lipids break down. And lipogenic, so the glucocorticoids increase differentiation of adipose tissue and will stimulate lipogenesis. What is lipogenesis? Again, conversion from acetyl CoA to your triglyceride. Okay, yes, acetyl CoA to your triglyceride, that is lipogenesis. And lipolysis is your again process. Lipid triglycerides are hydrolyzed into your glycerol and your 3 fatty acids, it seems. Okay, not sure that much. It's hydrolyzed into, triglycerides are hydrolyzed into your glycerol and fatty acids. Okay, so we are finished with the metabolic action of glucocorticoids, carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Now coming to the physiological action on the various organs and systems. Okay, effects on your electrolyte and water balance. Okay. Glucocorticoids will control the distribution of body water and electrolyte by opposing actions. What? First one, increase sodium and chloride retention and potassium excretion by your kidney. Sodium chloride retention, potassium excretion. And next is promote diuresis by increasing inactivation of ADH by liver. Okay. So who will tell me what is the role of ADH on your DCT? We have already studied. What is the role of ADH in DCT? Yes, increase the permeability of water in your DCT. Yes, increase permeability of water in your DCT. Now coming to the physiological action on various organs and systems. First one is on your muscle. Okay, first one is on your muscle. The contractility and work performance of your skeletal and cardiac muscles are maintained by your cortisol, and decrease in muscle mass and strength is caused by excess of cortisol. Why? Because this occurs due to the decrease in your muscle protein synthesis and increase in muscle catabolism. Two things, contractility and work performance of skeletal muscle and cardiac muscles are maintained, and second one is your decrease in muscle mass and strength. Okay. Now effects on bone, very important. It will bone resorption will be increased, okay, by the increased activity of your osteoclast. Resorption of bone resorption is increased by the increased activity of your osteoclast. Next, inhibition of bone by will decreasing the collagen synthesis, inhibiting formation of mature osteoblast from your undifferentiated cells, and increasing the rate of apoptosis of your osteoblast and osteocytes. Again, increasing calcium excretion in your urine. By the end product, GFR will increase. Okay, so on bone you have seen resorption increases, inhibition of bone formation by cortisol. Next, effect on connective tissue. Okay, cortisol decreases collagen synthesis by thinning of skin and thinning of walls of your capillaries, which will lead to your easy rupture and intracutaneous hemorrhage. Okay, so muscle is over, bone is over, and connective tissue is over. Now, effect on your vascular system. The cortisol is essential for maintaining normal blood pressure. Okay, give reasons why. First one, it for sustaining myocardial performance, enhancing vasopressure effect of catecholamines, mainly your norepinephrine and angiotensin II. Okay, decreasing production of your vasodilator prostaglandins, and maintaining normal blood volume by decreasing permeability of vascular endothelium. Okay, first, sustaining myocardial performance, enhancing your vasopressure effect of catecholamines and angiotensin II, decreasing production of your vasodilator prostaglandins, maintaining the normal blood volume by decreasing the permeability of vascular endothelium. Next, on kidneys. Okay, increase in GFR by increasing glomerular plasma flow, rapid excretion of water load, increase in calcium and phosphate excretion by decreasing their reabsorption in proximal tubules. Okay, increased in GFR, rapid excretion of water load, and increase in calcium and phosphate excretion by decreasing their reabsorption in proximal tubules. On CNS, glucocorticoids receptors are present in your various parts of your brain, mainly your limbic system, and through these receptors glucocorticoids modulate excitability behavior and mood. On GIT, glucocorticoids will increase gastric acid secretion and decrease proliferation of gastric mucosal cells. Now coming to the effect of glucocorticoids on your blood cells and lymphatic organs. Okay, so excess of glucocorticoids will lead to eosinopenia and basopenia. Okay, you know the terms. Okay, due to their increased destruction. Lymphopenia, it is caused by inhibiting their proliferation and increasing their destruction in circulation. It will lead to your decreased size of lymph nodes, thymus, spleen, and other lymphoid tissue. Neutrophilia, okay, increased, occurs due to the increased release from your bone marrow and decreased migration into your tissues from your vascular species. Now, polycythemia, due to stimulation of erythropoiesis, and thrombocytosis. Eosinopenia, basopenia, lymphopenia, neutrophilia, polycythemia, and thrombocytosis. Okay, so there is an applied part in this. Why injection? Okay, write down why injection of cortisol is a must in shock. Give reason. Okay, why injection of cortisol is a must in shock. Why cortisol is required? Because it will see, cortisol is essential for maintaining normal blood pressure. Okay, cortisol is important for maintaining your normal blood pressure. How? Because it will cause your vasoconstriction, and the outcome will be increased in cardiac output. Okay, so what is the remedy for this, or what do we do? Why we inject cortisol along with catecholamines? Okay, why catecholamines are added to cortisol? To maintain your vascular reactivity. Okay, so why injection of cortisol is a must in your shock is this is required to restore your blood pressure. Okay, so we have finished with the physiological action on the various organs. Okay, so we started with muscle, then we went for bones, connective tissue, vascular system, kidney, CNS, GI, your blood cells, and your lymphatic organs. Now coming to the third function is anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic effect. Okay, we'll finish up by next 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, anti-inflammatory effect. What are the anti-inflammatory effect? Okay, cortisol will inhibit activity of phospholipase A2. First one, cortisol stabilizes lysosomal membrane. Cortisol inhibits migration of circulating leukocyte to the site of inflammation. Cortisol inhibits leukotriene, and cortisol decreases collagen formation. Okay, so in the next flow chart, okay, if you can copy this and keep, you will know what is the importance of cortisol in prevention of your inflammation. Again, a very short note question: why cortisol is important for prevention, or what is the role of anti-inflammatory effect of cortisol? Okay, as I told you, again, increased synthesis of lipoproteins, okay, by inhibition of your phospholipase A2, which will ultimately lead to the decreased formation of mediators of inflammation like your PG prostaglandins, and this leukotrienes. Okay, leukotrienes. Next, stabilization of lysosomal membrane, okay, will decrease release of proteolytic enzyme and will have a decreased inflammatory injury. Okay, inhibition of mast cell will decrease release of histamine. Okay, so decrease in vasodilation. Histamine is a vasodilator. Okay, so decrease vasodilation, decrease capillary permeability, decrease blood flow, and it will prevent your inflammation. On leukocytes, acts by two methods: decrease in phagocytosis and decrease in chemotaxis. All will decrease the activity of a leukocyte. Okay, and the last one, production of IKB. What is this? This is a nuclear factor. Okay, sorry, this is a cytoplasmic protein. Okay, it is a cytoplasmic protein, and this one is a nuclear factor, which is it remains attached to this cytoplasmic protein. Okay, so will result in decreased formation of your inflammatory chemicals. All this will ultimately lead to your prevention of inflammation. So this is the role of cortisol in your anti-inflammatory effect. Okay, Now next is your immunosuppressive activity or your anti-immunity effect. Okay, cortisol inhibits both your cellular and your humoral immunity by decreasing proliferation of your T cells and your B cells response. So T cells and B cell for your cellular and humoral immunity. Glucocorticoids are used for your as an immunosuppressor in recipient of an organ during organ transplantation to prevent your graft rejection. Okay, so immunosuppressive activity of cortisol. See here, cortisol, it helps apoptosis of T cell, nuclear factor B activity decrease the nuclear factor B activity on lymphocytes, will destroy T cells in the thymus and B and T cells in lymph node, and inhibit transformation of monocyte to macrophages. All will lead to decreased cellular immunity. Apoptosis of T cell, decrease in circulating T cells, decreased nuclear factor B will decrease the lymphocyte migration and cytokine production. Now destroy of T cells will lead to decrease in your circulating T and B cells. Okay, so decrease in humoral inhibity and again decrease in your cellular immunity. So this is the role of cortisol as an immunosuppressive hormone. Okay, the last one, anti-allergic effect. Okay, now cortisol reduces number of circulating basophils and protects against release of the secretory products of granulocytes, mast cells and macrophages. All act as a anti-allergic effect. Okay, so we have finished with metabolic action, physiological action, anti-inflammatory and anti-allergic action. Now coming to the last two, that is what is the role of glucocorticoids in fetal life and what is the role of glucocorticoids in stress. In fetal life, maturation of your CNS, retina and skin is done by your glucocorticoids. Maturation of lungs, again important one, it is done by your glucocorticoids. And maturation of GI tract is also accelerated by your glucocorticoids. Okay, so maturation of CNS, retina, skin, lungs and GI tract. So for all this, glucocorticoids is important in your fetal life. Last one, what is the role of glucocorticoids in stress? For example, trauma, cold, illness, starvation, which are all associated with the activation of your hypothalamic hypophyseal adrenal axis. Okay, what is this? We will see hypothalamic hypophyseal adrenal axis. So increased secretion of glucocorticoids is one of the mechanism which is involved in your adaptation to your various stresses. So we have finished this functions. Okay, the last one is a summation of what is the role of glucocorticoids on the various tissues, organs. Okay, cortisol, it maintains muscle function, decreases muscle mass, decrease bone formation, increases bone resorption, decreases connective tissue, modulates emotional tone, wakefulness, increases GFR and free water clearance, facilitates maturation of the fetus, maintains your cardiac output, increases your arterial tone, decreases your endothelial permeability, and last one inhibits inflammatory and immune responses. Okay, so this sums up the actions of cortisol. The effect of glucocorticoids on various tissues, organs and systems in your body. Now mechanism of action is over, functions of glucocorticoid is over. Now the last one, regulation of glucocorticoid secretion. Okay, here the anterior pituitary, if you remember, will regulate the glucocorticoid secretion. Okay, by which hormone? ACTH, that is your adrenocorticotropic hormone. Now adrenocorticotropic hormone secretion is regulated through your hypothalamus, okay, through another hormone, that is your corticotropin releasing hormone. Okay, now hypothalamic hypophyseal adrenal axis. Okay, from anterior pituitary adrenocorticotropic hormone, from your thalamus corticotropin releasing hormone, and the last one, it has glucocorticoids have a negative feedback effect on both. Okay, so how this hypothalamus anterior pituitary has an effect on your adrenal cortex. So emotion, stress, trauma, okay, and influence of your circadian rhythm, okay, that will activate your hypothalamus to release the hormone corticotropin releasing factor or your corticotropin releasing hormone, that will act on your anterior pituitary to release your adrenocorticotropic hormone. Okay, now adrenocorticotropic hormone will act on your adrenal cortex to release your cortisol or your glucocorticoid. Okay, so emotion, stress, trauma, all this will have effect on hypothalamus to release your CRH. CRH will have effect on anterior pituitary to release your ACTH. ACTH will have effect on adrenal cortex to release your cortisol through feedback inhibition. Okay, so this is how the regulation of cortisol is done. So we have finished with today's class. If you have any doubt in today's class, you can ask me. Okay, so what we studied in today's class, we started with adrenal gland. Okay, what is the importance of your adrenal gland, what is the what is in general, what is adrenal cortex medulla. Okay, then your histology of adrenal cortex medulla, blood supply, venous drainage. Okay, then we came to the hormones, glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, adrenal sex steroids. Okay, now synthesis of these hormones. Okay, then what is the synthesis of aldosterone, we studied in details. Okay, then we studied the sites that are involved in synthesis, mitochondria and your endoplasmic reticulum. Then we studied the transport, okay, fate, mechanism of action. Okay, then the functions. Okay, functions functions, metabolic action, physiological action, inflammatory, anti-allergic, anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic actions. Okay, the role of glucocorticoids in your fetal life and stress. Okay, we studied in detail the functions. Then the last one was your regulation. Okay, regulation of your cortisol through hypothalamus and anterior pituitary. Two hormones, ACTH and your CRH. Okay, so I think you have understood what we have studied in today's class. Next class we are going to continue with this topic. Okay, so you are going to start with your MCQs. Okay, you have already completed one test, MCQ trial test, and the rests are going to take place in the upcoming classes. Okay, get prepared for your oral viva also along with your MCQs, which is going to happen next month. Yes, you have got your syllabus, topics, which day, which topic. Okay, so all the best for your first MCQ in your next class. Okay, thank you.